After a long day at work or school, we tend to accumulate a large amount of stress that can eat away at us. Then, we open the door to our home and are embraced by this furry creature barking and jumping in our legs, and it suddenly feels like all the tension that's pent up within us suddenly dissipates and begins to melt away. Greeting our pets is a very therapeutic experience, despite the same event happening every single day without exception. No matter how bad of a mood we're in, our pets make the whole world seem better. Some animals are trained to perform to replicate this feeling for those who do not have the opportunity to have a pet. These are known as therapy animals, who are taught to behave politely and calmly in public so that they can visit maybe young children in hospitals or elderly patients in nursing homes. Therapy animals are certified after undergoing a training course with their handlers, followed by an exam issued by a proctor. Behind me you'll see a picture of my dog Rembrandt. There's Rembrandt, who I underwent an 8-week course with and managed to pass the exam. He's actually quite a nervous dog usually at home, until he is around groups of people. And I always found that interesting, and my inquisitive nature kicked in. You see, I'm currently studying to be a veterinary behaviorist, and I've always wondered, why would that dog eat that? Or why did that cat scratch them? I felt the need to act as an advocate for animals, seeing as how they lack the ability to speak on their own behalf. Like us, dogs can actually become stressed themselves, which can take an extreme toll on them, both mentally and physically. This leads to development of poor mental health in therapy dogs, especially. The highly charged emotional environments in which they perform their therapy work places stress on them, such that they can develop extreme depression or even aggression that prevents them from performing therapy work anymore. Since animal therapy is often referred to as a miracle medicine, it is always tragic when a therapy dog refuses to participate in this selfless activity that brightens the lives of so many people across the world. I have become determined to find a way to prevent the onset of depression in therapy dogs so that both patients and dogs can enjoy the mutually beneficial interaction that occurs. I developed a research question to start myself off in the right direction by finding out what information already exists on the subject and what I need to discover for myself. I wanted to know, do therapy dogs develop stress-induced depression in more highly charged emotional environments? In a study performed by Virginia Commonwealth University, it has been proven that therapy dogs can in fact lower the stress level of individuals in as little as 5 minutes. The best way to measure stress in animals as well is by testing out cortisol via a collection of saliva or blood. I personally chose blood because sticking your dog to collect saliva in a dog's mouth is a little messy. As defined by James L. Wilson, cortisol is a hormone that influences, regulates, or modulates many of the changes that occur in the body in response to stress. What I did with this entire project is I started off by getting my dog what's called a CGC certification, also known as the Canine Good Citizen, which is presented by American Kennel Club. And to do this, I had to take my 8-week course, which involved anywhere from beginner level tricks to intermediate level, little sitting and staying down from very far distances, to greeting people and teaching them how to be polite in society. And after I got my exam, I got to choose where I could partake in this experiment of mine. And I chose for my first location a place known as Covenant House in Houston. Many of you probably know of it. Covenant House is an amazing facility that we have that actually is nationwide as well. And what they do is they take in teens and young adults who have grown too old for the foster care system and need a place to stay so they can get on their feet, and they need food and a place to sleep at night, and Covenant House helps them do that. How I even came to this place was I went to the gym one day and my mom introduced me to a lady, and happened to say she was the CEO of Covenant House, and she said, please, we love this sort of thing, we love when people interact with the patients at Covenant House, and I brought my dog starting the next week and I had a great time there. This was a very young and upbeat crowd, and we usually sat in a big circle and I just talked to them about what it was like being a dog owner, since many of them wanted to own dogs once they got out of the shelter and they could have their own home and a place where they could own their own animals. And they pet all over him, they did tricks that I taught him, and it was really loud and rigorous and tiring at the end of the day, but it was a really fun thing for me to do and for my dog. And after that, the next location that I chose was a place called Windsor Quail Valley Nursing Home. And I wasn't sure which place I'd get to practice for a nursing home, but I knew I wanted to do that one specifically because I'd always seen pictures of dogs laying in the beds of humans, and I wanted to see what that experience was like, getting to hear both the human and see what my dog did in that environment. So I was talking to my grandma, who happens to be in Windsor, Quail Valley, and she said that they have therapy dogs come once a week. And so I emailed the lady in charge of activities there, and she said, please come on by once a week too. So I started doing that, and I began amazing. I had a great time straight off the bat, learning people's names and seeing recurring patients each week. And from having such a wide range of environments in which I got to perform my experiment, I learned how to interact with all sorts of people, from elderly patients who are not certain what's going on around them, to these live children who are jumping and screaming and being able to pet the dog and throw a ball and have them chase it. So I really learned how to communicate and be that advocate for myself, to tell them what I was doing as a teenager of their age or as a dog owner. And I also learned to really be able to pick up on stress in dogs, which is going to be a big part of my career. And I learned to see when he was getting nervous or anxious, if somebody's grabbing him too tight, if they're chasing him around too much, he was getting tired. And I learned how to advocate for him. As I went on with my project, I began to start to see some immediate data coming by, and I got to first put some statistics on a board for you here, so you can really see what I was doing. And as you can see, from the very first date at Covenant House, he started off with what is considered a high level of cortisol, as it's usually measured from 2 to 6 micrograms per deciliter. And he started off with toward the higher end in the very first visit, because he was not sure what was happening, and it even still raised at the end due to stress and excitement from this new activity that he was performing. And if you see for the rest of the data, it's a very continuous pattern that it significantly raises at the end of each visit, indicating that there was in fact a large amount of stress placed on him at the end of each visit that I had. And so in doing this, there are many different factors that are included here, and one of them being that I did have to ride to and from the location of each one, which can, if stressful events do occur, even the slightest bump in a road can alter a dog's well-being, and it can shake them up a little bit. In conclusion, what I did pick up from all of this giant experience for me was that dogs respond to any different thing in such strange ways to me that baffle my mind. They continue to boggle my impressions of what I think of dogs all the time. And I learned how to see what they're saying and be able to relay that information to you successfully. And I would love for all of you to be able to learn to do that for yourselves one day, so you can all learn how to talk with your dog. I know we kind of do that now, but saying "here, Pookie" is not the same thing. It doesn't always work for me. And also I did learn that some things that can benefit our humans can actually hurt our animals. And I did learn how to increase my compassion when looking at these pets of mine, was what just may appear as animals to other people are viewed as almost medicine to others. They brighten everybody. They have such healing factors that I have to take into consideration. If you use something and abuse something, you will lose it. And why this even matters specifically for y'all out here is because I want y'all to hear it straight from my mouth that advocate for your dog to continue this sort of program. If any of y'all, God I hope I'm not, but if any of y'all get sick, then you'll most likely see one of these therapy dogs coming by to visit you and to brighten your day, brighten your family's day. And I want you to understand the benefits and drawbacks of animal therapy as well. I'm here to direct the needs of our animals unto you. Thank you.